It's finally here. We watched one half of a geriatric Tom Brady get beaten up for the Mando Season 3 trailer, and I am unapologetically a massive Mandalorian fan. I loved Seasons 1 and 2. I think I'm going to like this based on the trailer, but what we'll do, as always, is go through it. It's pretty short, only about a minute and 15 seconds. We'll go through it once, sort of live, then I will stop, go through, and talk about things that I noticed that I think you would want to notice and to know about. There are a lot of questions asked in this trailer, rather. A lot of indications about the scale and the scope of the show. I think it's very interesting. Just a look, though, for interest's sake, it released 18 minutes ago, 109 views. I think interest in The Mandalorian is still at an all-time high. Very, very positive reaction so far. Again, even though people had to watch Tom Brady just trying to throw a football for one half. But let's get started.
Our people are scattered.
Love this look. Kind of curious of what degree they're going to continue to use the volume versus traditional filming techniques. I love this scene in a second. It's like cuddling with him. Or that comes in a moment. Yeah, here we go. Don't press that button right there on my wrist. You'll shoot off the whistling birds and kill us all. So I guess this is Navarro. It looks great. It's kind of funny they showed the Salacious Crumb creature, Kowakian monkey lizards. They were in cages at the beginning.
I'm going to Mandalore so that I may be forgiven.
I hate the armor. She's so full of it. Really wondering where those fireworks are. I guess that could be them leaving Navarro for whatever reason. This is the scene that got me most excited. Dr. Pershing in a Johnny cab. Love the TIE interceptors. Flying the Fang fighter. We can talk about this scene when we come back to it. I have no idea what that thing is supposed to be. I love how Grogu's out standing on his own now. Okay, that was the first watch through. Let's get nitpicky and talk about the things that I noticed. Not much there, I'll admit. Just we get a better look at the Mandalorians in the scene, and that does look like Bo-Katan at the very front there, or at least some female Mandalorian, and it looks like she's got the proper helmet on. But maybe not. Kind of seen this, we kind of saw this scene before. It is, I think, important to talk about kind of what's going on with Grogu. There are going to be some people who missed the Book of Boba Fett who are very confused about why Grogu's back with Mando. And that was kind of the risk of putting it in the Book of Boba Fett. I always think that the plan, I think the plan always was to do sort of what they did. I think those two episodes from the Book of Boba Fett were at one point just planned to be in The Mandalorian. I could be wrong about that, but they realized with the extra delay and the desire to keep Mando hype kind of at an all-time high that they should insert it in the Book of Boba Fett. But I think this series, and this season rather, has sort of always been planned out to have Grogu in it, but I could be completely wrong. Maybe that's me just coping because I initially didn't like the decision. I'm still not sure if I did, or if I do. But yeah, super cute. Father-son. Like, some of you may not have, if you missed the Book of Boba Fett, like, you may be surprised to see Mando rocking a modified N1 starfighter. I tried to take a look here and see if I could spot any other ships. This looks like the tail end of, like, a Corellian ship. I don't actually know the ship class of this, but we've seen this one in Andor. They reuse a lot of the live action ships. And lots of nice details here. We see like some speeders on the ground. The environments have always been really well done in these shows.
You'll never be lost.
And yeah, the Kowakian monkey lizards were caged. Now they're not. They got the torture droids doing. They've got the torture droids doing shopkeeper's duties. I just noticed that R5 is with them here, so presumably he's going to go to Tatooine, get R5, probably because he needs help navigating through hyperspace, and then kind of go off on his grand adventure. What is it? Oh, that's the IG-11 statue. So, I mean, people are going to say this is Camino because it's rainy. It could be. He could be going to Camino for some reason, but I'm guessing that's probably just Mandalore.
So that I may be forgiven.
And yeah, look at the city just completely bombed out. We know a little bit about that, not fully about the Mandalorian purges, but I assume when he's in that cave later, or when he finds the Mandalorian helmet, it could be one of the Vizslas or something as a result of the purge.
For my transgressions.
Yeah, here's him getting R5, and given that we see R5 later behind him in the market, we could assume that this happens earlier. And things are about to get a little more interesting. So I'm guessing that this is when he leaves Navarro, because again, we see Baby Yoda in the cockpit before R5 takes Yoda's or Grogu's spot. He's in the back there, so that kind of helps us put together a timeline. And this shot here, it does kind of look like Navarro.
There's something dangerous.
All right, so this scene is really interesting to me because it kind of hints at the scope of the show. We're seeing Coruscant, we're seeing the center of galactic politics, something that the Mandalorian so far has kind of strayed away from, which indicates to me that we're going to see the Mando, or at least this show, maybe not the Mandalorian itself, tie into a bigger story, the one that's been hinted at crossing over into Ahsoka, what was formerly Rangers of the New Republic, and whatever else. And one thing I want you to be careful, I'm just going to turn the audio up for a second. You hear Coruscant Teva talking to somebody, and we're going to come back to this in a second.
Big enough for you to act.
And it switches to the face of the Mandalorian. We know that they're in different places here because, I mean, we can just tell by the background. What is that on his jacket? Anyway, we can tell based on the background, and we know that this is Bo-Katan's her palace or her throne room. So the editing makes you think that this is the same sequence and that Coruscant Teva is talking to the Mandalorian. At least it implies that. However, I think it's more likely that he is talking to some brass within the New Republic, trying to warn them about some threat, whether that's Thrawn, the First Order, who knows.
Something dangerous happening out there.
I love how we have Dr. Pershing in the Johnny cab here. Total Recall fans will get that. He doesn't seem to be... I mean, it's hard to tell because we can't see his hands, but he doesn't look like he's in custody here. He could be, but I kind of wonder to what degree he's working with the New Republic.
By the time it becomes big enough for you to act.
And you're like, I'm wondering about this cave. Like, there's got to be a purpose for this. They wouldn't just show... I would think, and maybe they would. I wouldn't think they'd be focusing on this cave unless there was something in here, something tied to who knows what. Could be where he finds this Mandalorian helmet. Who that belongs to, I'm not even going to guess. I think it's not meant to belong to anyone in specific. It's just kind of representative of how badly the Mandalorians have been dumped on by the Empire. But I could be wrong about that. Flashback. This is interesting. And this, to me, aesthetically, looks a lot like Kenobi. Like, it looks very, very similar to Kenobi. The lightsabers, the kind of darker lighting, just kind of the way it's filmed. Yeah, it has that Kenobi look where the rest of the trilogy does not. Is that important? I don't know. I'm guessing it means they filmed this scene when they were filming the flashback scenes for the Jedi Temple in Kenobi as well. Could totally be wrong about that, but that's definitely the vibe that I get. And I don't know whether these Jedi specifically are protecting Grogu, whether this is just kind of setting the frame for the greater kind of Order 66 moment, and we're going to see Grogu be whisked away by somebody. Who knows? But yeah, very interesting that they're actually going to give us more about Grogu's backstory after it was hinted on slightly during the Book of Boba Fett. And, you know, I'm kind of looking for any sort of markings in this. We get the Andor symbol here. I'm just joking about that it kind of actually is the Andor symbol or the Quake symbol. They're the exact same almost. But yeah, not much. So the hint at the greater universe stuff, we see these TIE interceptors here. So obviously Mando is going to continue to have kind of run-ins with the Empire, whether under Moff Gideon or somebody else, I don't know. TIE interceptors to me though, they scream elite craft. So I feel like this might be some sort of greater sect of the Empire. Like the TIE interceptor seems a lot more expensive than regular TIEs, which we've seen Gideon using, or the Outlander TIEs, which we saw him using as like his personal ship in season 1. Interesting, we see some sort of structure down there. I've got no idea what this planet is. I don't think it's Mandalore, but yeah, no idea. But we see Mando in his Fang fighter there, and we see an interior shot later to confirm it's Mando. Some nice action shots here too. Just really got to appreciate that they're bringing movie level visual effects to the small screen. But yeah, I've got no idea where this could be. This scene is interesting. So I didn't notice this during the first watch through. For one, we've got live action clankers. I don't know whether we've seen live action clankers before. Yeah, no clue. So we've got live action clankers, but more interestingly, we've got a complete droid bar here. We've got this droid who they see in the Sandcrawler in episode 4, a bunch of really fancy looking astromechs. So they seem to be like, I'm guessing they looks like they're oiling themselves, like the oils, because it's not going into like their mouth. Obviously droids don't have mouths to drink from, at least, but it looks like it's going like straight into their body, which is a really nice touch. And I gotta wonder whether this, like whether a droid like in the Rise of Skywalker will sort of be a plot element here, because we do see that it looks like he's looking at Babu Frick, or at least members of Babu Frick's species. I don't know if they've ever been named. So it could be because there's a droid with something on it, whether it's coordinates like R2-D2 in episode 7 or BB-8 in episode 7, or something else. I'm not sure. But I do like how clearly, Mando's walking in and they're like, what are you doing in here? Is that a... Sorry, I just noticed something. I saw a spinning head in this corner here. Almost looks like... It almost kind of, to me, looks like a probe droid's head, but not that that really matters. Nikto and Little Frick. So this looks like the same cave, obviously, that we saw before. Kind of wonder why they're down there. And we're going to talk about the creature they encounter in a second, but this does look like it's the same water planet to me. Or I call it a water planet, same Earth-like planet. No idea what this thing is. It could be a new species. It almost looks like that Jedi Master. Oh, what's his name? It almost looks like Kakruk's species. But I don't know. It's also wearing what looks to be kind of a... We'll see it more in a second here alongside Grogu's display of power. But it looks like it's wearing a fairly primitive outfit. So I'm guessing this could have just been like a run-in with a local. But yeah. The Crook species... Oh yeah, Whippet. That's right. So Whippets only have 2 eyes though. So overall though, really great trailer. Sorry, I made that really loud there. Really great trailer. Yeah, let me know what you thought down below. I'll just play through it again while I kind of parse my final thoughts. Yeah, I'm excited. I wish it had been a bit longer. I wish that they hadn't showed as much. The first half of the trailer was sort of a write-off. We get 30 seconds of really good content. Wish there had been more. But I think they're so confident in the show. Like, The Mandalorian is a streaming juggernaut. It's what my son wants to watch when he watches Star Wars half the time. He's weird. He's like, I either want to watch episode 3, episode 6, or episode 9. He loves the ends of the trilogies. He's only 4. But he also really likes watching The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch. But yeah, very excited about this. I have no idea where the plot's going to go. I think that the sort of returning to Mandalore plot, I'm not going to say it's a red herring, but I do think the season's going to go in a very different direction than what that would suggest. But again, let me know your thoughts and more down below.